Jodi McKee, and this is my shop, Jewelweed.
I'm Berit Niederluecke, and I am Jewelweed shop manager and have been for about 3 years.
And we are located on Lake Street in Wayzata, which is a suburb of Minneapolis. And then right across the street is Lake Minnetonka. And when I was thinking about opening up a shop, the name Jewelweed came to me right around the time when I found kind of the space. And so Jewelweed grows across the street along the lakeshore. And so it seemed like this was a really appropriate name and that we were planted in the right place.
So this is the crystal table. And when Jodi first started Jewelweed, she wanted this to kind of be a really fun invitation. Because when you think about when you're little and when you have that kind of like joyful call to nature of all elements, rocks are so cool. And so this kind of brings you back to that wonder and enchantment of rocks. And it's kind of set up like a crystal charcuterie board. We have it rainbowed out in different colors. Every crystal comes with a card that we kind of channel and write ourselves. And there's all different types. And so we like to tell people to go where you're called rather than reading the cards first, because if you come in with an intention or you're thinking about what you want to work on, the crystals kind of tend to invite you to work with them. So these are actually gem essences. So it's like flower essences, but for crystals. And then they have corresponding essential oils matched with them. So you do not ingest these. We actually had an employee who thought they were ingestible. We don't.
They're oils.
Yeah, they have essential oils in them, so we're not doing that. But the person who makes these, she's out in Portland and she works with color a lot. We actually have one of her decks in the shop. And so she also has like plant correspondences to each of them. So this, like the obsidian one, for example, is associated with ashwagandha, burdock root, and hawthorn. So yeah, she works with gems in a really cool way.
Is that Portland, Oregon or Portland, Maine?
Portland, Oregon.
Sweet.
Very good question.
Wow, hometown, yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the table, and I'd say this is probably one of the most central features of Jewelweed. Yeah.
And this is our burnable table. And so we have lots of different options for different plants that people can use to clear their space or to for meditation. We have many favorites that are a little like not traditional. So we have like a vetiver that comes from Hawaii, and that is, they use it to help erosion. So they use it on the banks and then they harvest the root. So it's a really good, this is like, I don't know, one of the best burnables I think to use for that purpose. And also it smells like amazing. So we use this one for grounding, for clearing. Sometimes people use it before they go to bed. We use it lots of times in women's circles. And then we have like traditional Palo Santo. We have pine fatwood. I think that comes from Wisconsin, actually. We have eucalyptus. And we have different like kind of traditional incense. One of my favorite is copal. So that's kind of how I learned to space clear. And when I was a designer, I used to often use copal or an essential oil spray. And then we also have we give out just a little card about how people can clear their space and what that means and what that looks like, and just the practice of getting into it and setting their intentions. And I always tell people, it's like you use your intention and you use a plant, and those two together is what clears the space and creates the space. And so, so we love, this is like also a really popular table and place, and a lot of people are this is new to a lot of people. And so we love to be able to introduce this to people. So usually at all of our events, when people come in, we usually do some space clearing. We introduce them to a different plant. So that's this table.
So this is our skincare and body care section, and it's one of my favorite parts of the shop. So we have, skincare, we have face oils, we have lotions, we have our CBD bath products are definitely one of our most popular. And then we have more bath products down here. One of my favorite lines is called Romy Apothecary. and it's made by a woman in St. Paul, Minnesota, and she was an occupational therapist for years, and then just got a little burnt out and wanted to kind of find something that felt more fulfilling for her soul. So she learned herbalism, and then she her grandmother was from South Korea, and she really loved skincare. Like, she would value skincare over groceries sometimes. It was one of her passions. So Romina took that and then married it with her love of herbalism. I can't live without her rose and yarrow toner. It's like what gets my oily face through the summertime. But she has a ton of other products that are really amazing and super intentional and handmade. And one other thing we really prioritize is never using any products when it comes to body and face care, and our candles as well. We don't use anything that has fragrance in it. So a lot of companies will say that their products are natural but still use fragrance oils, and we've just decided that that's not something we're going to carry here. So everything either is from essential oils or absolutes. One of our fragrance companies, like our perfume companies, she'll actually just basically make tinctures and then turn those into perfume oils. So yeah, we're really passionate about that and really being true to the natural name.
And this is, this section right here are our flower essences, and we have several different brands. These essences are Lotus Way. They come from Katie Hess. Her brand is out of Phoenix, Arizona. She has, these are elixirs, so there's usually like 5 to 6 flowers in each bottle, and you take it internally, where these are an aromatherapy mist and aromatherapy oil. So those you put on the body. So those are really fun. She's got a quiz online that you can take, and then it tells you what mix you might want. And one thing that's really fun too, she has a flower on each bottle. And so one of the ways you can tell, sometimes we flip all these and just have customers just pick their favorite flower. And that's like, then they take that home, and that's, you know, they have a whole thing with that. And then down here, and this is just the Bach remedies that everybody is real familiar with. And then this is the Lily Circle. So next week we have one of my herbal teachers coming in from Germany, Julia Graves. Her book is The Language of Plants. So the Lily Circle is one of the methods that I use, or that I learned from flower essences. And you can see, like, she's got a whole circle. So it starts actually pre-birth and goes all the way kind of to death. But you know, we circle this many times in our lives. And so this is kind of a guide, and she used all lilies for her circle. And so we're going to be having a class on that next week, and we're really excited. But anyway, these are really fun and really popular. And we love the lilies. And this is our herbal section. And in this we have we have the powdered herbs, and we have some tinctures and kind of some elixirs mixed in here. We handpick all of our brands, so they come from all over the country. We have a couple that are kind of from our regional biome, which is Rhubarb Botanicals. She is in Iowa, and she has an herb farm, and she's just new in the last couple of years. And so we really love her products, and hopefully we'll get more in. Right now we have a couple of her tinctures and a couple of her salves that she makes. But other than that, some of you might recognize some of these brands because of the big ones: Anima Mundi, the Lunar Logic, we love them. Zylish, I love Dove Soul and her work. So Avena Botanicals, we love that brand for the singles. I don't know, the rainbow mushrooms, that is one of our very favorites. We love, love, love that. And these guys, the Forest Folk Fungi, they're amazing. They are like one of the coolest people, I think, on the planet. They're a couple, and they do this.
Do you know where they're from?
They're by the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't think of it off the top of my head, but they're a married couple.
And they're the
so
cutest.
cool.
Allie and what's her?
Joe.
Yeah, they are literally adorable. So they hand make they do all their mushrooms, they hand make everything. Anyway, we love, love, love them.
One thing that we're really excited about is all of our mocktail and non-alcoholic bottle suggestions. So we have, some of it's over there, but we have kind of 2 big brands, Seedlip, which has become pretty popular, and then 3 Spirit. And it's been really fun. You know, the trend of like not drinking as much alcohol has become really pervasive in our culture. And this journey that I've been on, I grew up in a family where you drank every single night. So it's been really fun to have alternatives, especially herbal alternatives, because you don't have to let go of that fun euphoric feeling from drinking. You can actually get that from herbs. So the seed lip is more of like a spirit forward idea. So if you like the taste of alcohol, these are great. But my personal favorite are the 3 Spirit, because they have a lot of herbs in them that still give you that like dreamy, like first drink feeling, while actually still being really great for you. So the Livener is definitely one of my favorites. It has, let's see here. The main herbs in here are Schisandra. So that's like a very like uplifting herb. And then there's, obviously you guys know that, but then the watermelon, and then there's cayenne in here. That's the main flavor profile. The other one, the social one, has Damiana and lion's mane and cacao. So it's a really kind of weird flavor profile, but it's super good with ginger ale. And that one is so bubbly. Like the Damiana is just so uplifting. So we love that one. And then the nightcap is very much to its name. We have valerian, lemon balm, hops in here. So it's super cozy before nighttime and actually really good for sleep. So yeah.
This is our tea and cacao section, and we are very serious about our tea and cacao, very picky about it. One of the brands that we love is the Aura Cacao. They make the 100% cacao sourced from different countries, so Belize, Colombia, Tanzania. They have a Guatemalan brand, and so this is what we use often, like for our women's circles. We serve it in the shop. And I learned about cacao from a man in Belize. And so then I was trying to source it. So I learned about it. I was in actually a Rosita Arvago class there, and we went into town, and there was a shop that was run by a Mayan man, and he was teaching everybody about cacao. And so everybody in my group, we'd been like studying stuff all week and very serious. And everybody in my group, like first he was making, like we went through all the steps. So he showed us like how you get cacao to a place that you can drink it. So we did all that. And what I noticed is by the time we were done, everybody was laughing, giggling, crying, hugging each other. And here we'd been doing this like spiritual healing all week, and the cacao like blew everybody wide open, and it was really beautiful. And so it made me just really curious about like, what is this and how can I use it? And so when I opened up Jewelweed, I spent a lot of time sourcing, and I actually, his name is Jonah. He's out of California. I took a lot of time trying to find a really good source for cacao that I really liked and had the kind of the effect that felt really good to me. And so I really do like this brand. We found another one too, Cocoa, where they add a little bit of coconut sugar, so it makes it a little bit more palatable for some people who don't really like the 100%. And then also we have another line, Botanical Lucidity. She is local, and she makes a cacao nectar. So she does use cacao and with some other herbs and drinks. And so
the hawthorn berry in that one just blows your heart open.
Yeah. With the cacao.
And the cayenne.
Yeah. Yes.
It just gets right in there.
And we love cacao. I mean, I don't know what you guys know about, but we love cacao because it's, high in magnesium, high in lots of vitamins and minerals. It has theobromine, which increases dopamine. It just makes everybody feel good. And so that, I think it's the heart opening effect. And we use it as a tool, and we just love it. Love working with it.
So. When I first started here, that was the first thing I got trained in on. We were in so we just moved in this bigger location in November, but for 5.5 years, we were 2 doors down in a much smaller spot. But we still had room for a cacao station in back. So the old store manager was training me, and she was like, all right, every day we start with cacao, and this is how you make it, and this is what you do with it, and you have to drink it while it's hot, and it's just, we love it so much. And it's something we almost always have at our events, and we love it. And then we also have a great selection of teas. Well Rooted is probably our favorite. It's by a local woman named Rachel, and she either grows or forages for a lot of the ingredients in there, specifically the up north blend. This is one of our favorites. She'll go up to the North Shore and forage for these ingredients. So we love this one so much. It is anytime someone's wondering what to bring when they're visiting Minnesota, what to bring home as a keepsake, this is what we say. And then we also have some of the Anima Mundi teas as well. And the liver vitality greens are super wonderful, especially if you're a seasonal allergy sufferer like I am.
So because we are serious about our cacao, we always give out, like when people buy the cacao, we have, this is like your daily cacao. So often we might put some other herbs in it, just depending on what's happening with you, right? So it's because cacao is, I think it's really tasty. So it takes other herbs really well. So, putting lion's mane or maca or, any of your adaptogens in it, we often do that. And so we have a daily cacao. We put flower essences in it. We in our women's circles, we blow our intentions into our mug. And so we have a whole thing that talks about that. And then we just have another thing that kind of talks about if you're going to have a cacao ritual, what does that look like? What do you mean? How do you make that, right? How do you make a big batch of it? What does that look like too? So anyway, yeah, we are pretty serious about our chocolate here. So this is our book section. So when we first opened, I just had like probably 10 books and that was it. And then it's exploded into, we have books here, we have books over there, our herbal books are kind of over there, and we are very serious about our books. So Berit and I spend a lot of time sourcing our books, finding new books. We try to do kind of like older books, newer books, and in general, it's like anything that has to do with health and wellness. And a lot of times, because the store has so many different things, there's certain people who need to read about everything first. And so I feel like this is always a good place to come and they can be introduced to lots of new information. One of my favorite authors is Sharon Blackie. Actually, my favorite book by her recently is called Hagitude, but she just, she uses story and archetypes and relates it to people's lives and the different seasons in our lives and how we can use those kind of as a guide. So yeah, here's our beautiful bookshelf.
Yeah, so these are our books, and then we also have a big deck selection, and I think one thing that really sets us apart from a lot of places is that we have samples of all of our decks, because a big part of working with tarot or oracle is connecting with the imagery, but HerbALly, specifically, one of our favorite decks is called Dirt Gems, and they do such a good job about explaining the actual medical and nutritional information about the herbs, but also more of the spiritual, energetic information. And the cards are really beautiful. So the one that's at the top right now is chickweed, and then it also sorts them by element. So yeah, they do such a good job, and it's a really fun way to connect with the plants and just see what medicine you're needing for the day.
So one thing that we often do is pull a card. So I don't know if one of you want to pull a card or we want to pull a card, but we often have people, or they'll come in and be like, "Can I just pull a card?" So we do that with them.
This one's calling to me.
You can tell us, it's okay.
What'd you get?
An enemy.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So then you just kind of look in the book. And it, like I said in the beginning, it breaks them up by a blaze, which is fire, a float, which is water, a drift, which is air, and a midst, which is earth. And so then the anemone is called the wind rider. And then it just kind of goes, it's kind of poetic, but it also just gives you a lot of good nuggets to chew on. Even if you just want to go in and kind of use it as a guide to learn about the plants, or if you want to use it as a deck, it's perfect for both. And I think that's the best type of deck, is one that's inspiring and informative.
Yeah,
and
totally.
This is another thing we're very picky about. We get samples of all of our decks before we carry them. So, because we don't want, we're very picky about our books too, but decks are something that can feel really like very vulnerable, because when you pull a card and you read a message, like it can kind of sit with you. It feels like that card really picked you, and we don't want to co-sign a message that doesn't feel inspiring or doesn't feel like it will call you somewhere. Because I think there's a lot of misinformation about tarot and oracle cards, and I was definitely raised to be very fearful of them, but they're actually just a really beautiful tool to connect with your inner knowing.
We have a couple different lines of jewelry, and the jewelry makers are all people that we know and that we really connect with kind of their message and their work. One of them is Amy Sabatier. So I guess the best way to maybe show this is she does the tarot necklaces, which are down here, and then she does some other goddess necklaces. She does some necklaces with stones and crystals, and then she's got a bunch of necklaces over here. Her name is Amy Sabatier. Her tagline is, gosh, it's like adventure, but they're meant to be pieces that mean something, that carry, like, I don't know.
They carry, so I think adventure inspired jewelry is her tagline. I remember once she told me a story that she saw what are those? What are those?
Oh, the Roadrunners.
A Roadrunner.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
she saw a Roadrunner and she was inspired. So then she made like a whole line of Roadrunner jewelry because she loved how funny and whimsical it was. And she works with a lot of stones. She has some beautiful like butterfly wing pendants. She has a whole line of zodiac stone or necklaces. And she very much is just like learning as she goes. She learned a lot of tarot through here, and she specifically designed the tarot line through us. And like Jodi was saying, it's very much like meaningful. So when you connect with a piece of hers, it's kind of like we have another line that she calls it talismanic jewelry, but I feel like they have that in common. So when I buy one of her pieces, I know it's handmade. I know that she's putting so much love and intention into it. And so it makes me feel really good to support that.
Yeah. And then one other one, we have Annie Band Jewelry. So Annie does things like she is a biologist who lives in a log cabin in Jackson Hole next to the river, and she loves the animals and she loves nature and outdoors. And so we have different jewelry from her. Some of it will be like talons or bones. So she collects the animal parts and pieces, and then she casts them and shrinks them down. Usually on all of her jewelry, it has like a word or two. And she also collects things on her travels and kind of uses that too. But the same idea of like, it's really intentional jewelry. And so we adorn ourselves in these, in our intentions, and work with, women who are working with their hands and really connected to nature. And yeah, we just really, really love her work and admire her.
Yeah, and when she has I have an owl talon from her, and so every time I wear that, I feel like I'm kind of embodying that owl medicine. And she definitely has a very big reverence for animals, so she's using it in a very, very respectful way, which feels so good. And then karma stacks are one of our biggest pieces in the shop. The woman who makes them, her name's Gina, and she started beading when she was going through cancer treatment. She found it really meditative, and then she loved it so much she decided to make it a business. And so part of her, the proceeds go to cancer research, and everything just feels so like with the other jewelry, it just feels so full of love, and people will give these as gifts a lot. It's such a great way to just say like, hey, I was thinking about you, and I think this is something that I'd love to give you in life. And we have an offering on our website. We don't have these listed, but we have like intuitive karma stacks. So if you're working on something, we're happy to find a stone or a bracelet that feels good for you.
Yeah. The ringing of a bell represents a shift and signifies an ending or a beginning, a calling forth or a farewell. And so she was an employee that worked here, and she moved to Denver. And anyway, so we miss her, but we have her work in the shop, and we love
And we love her so much too, because she got to, she started working with the stones after she worked here. And one of the things I know Jodi's really passionate about is everyone who comes in here kind of brings something to Jewelweed and then leaves, learning something. So it's really a place to grow and like find inspiration and then kind of take that out into the world. And it's really beautiful. And we love all of our birds, even when they fly the nest. So cheesy.
Yeah. Jewelweed, one of the things that we're known for is our gift boxes, and we will have people either buy them on our website, or sometimes they come in and they usually are wanting to get a gift for somebody. It can be for a birthday, but also like if something happens, like we just had one that it's a first Mother's Day, and so I was working on that yesterday, and so we put and she said she's exhausted and she wants some nourishing items in the gift basket, and so we walk around the store and we fill up our beautiful gift boxes with all different items. And when we do that, we like to touch the senses. So we like to we want you to have an experience. So it's like something to taste, something to smell, something to hold, which is usually like a crystal, like something for inspiration, which might be words. So it could be a book or a deck, or, something like that just kind of invites people beyond the moment when they're just opening the gift box. And so, yeah, we're really, we love doing them, and especially the intuitive gift boxes. They're really fun. And we've had people, I had a lady march in here once, and she's like, I want to know who made this gift box. And I was like, me. And she's like, this is right on. How would you ever know this about me? And I was like, I didn't, but we kind of tune in. We usually get a name or a theme or something like that. And we really love to build that for people and offer that.